Number 9. Emma Evans. In early September of 2015, Welsh woman Emma Evans was enjoying a holiday to Mallorca with her husband and their eldest child. The room that the 37-year-old was staying in didn't have air conditioning to better cope with the heat and humidity. On September the 2nd, Evans went to sleep on the balcony. The woman had what was described as a propensity to sleepwalk, but it was also reported that she'd consumed a considerable amount of alcohol that night. At some point, Evans sleepwalked over the edge of the balcony and fell to the ground over 50 feet, sustaining fatal injuries. A Swansea coroner recorded a verdict of accidental death. Today's featured fan shoutout is Instagram follower Melinda372. To appear in our next video, send us your pic rocking the latest merch from theywillkillyou.com and send it in to us on Instagram today. Number 8. Rob Williams. In late 2013, Rob Williams visited colleagues at a hotel in Waltham Cross, England, after a work Christmas party. 27-year-old Williams, who was prone to sleepwalking, was staying elsewhere and had joined 2 of his colleagues for a night of drinking. The following morning, the others woke up and found that he wasn't there. They noticed that the window was open but didn't think much of it. They assumed that Williams had left even though his coat and shoes were still in the room. The men went to get breakfast and took his belongings back to the office with them. Later that day, the secretary of the firm where the men worked contacted Williams's partner to inquire about his whereabouts. It was then that the alarm was raised. Later in the afternoon, a workman in a first-floor room noticed Williams lying on a rain-soaked roof. He'd sleepwalked out of the window and fallen 13 feet. After he was knocked unconscious, Williams spent the night freezing on the roof. He was taken to the hospital with advanced hypothermia and severe head injuries. After 5 days in the intensive care unit, he passed away on Christmas Day without ever regaining consciousness. Number 7. Crushed by dumpster truck. On September the 5th of 2012, the body of a 50-year-old man was discovered by staff at a material recycling facility in Wirral, England. Local police determined that his death had been the result of a tragic accident. The unnamed man, believed to have been homeless, had fallen asleep inside a wheelie bin. As the bin was emptied into a compactor truck, the man was horrifically crushed and sustained fatal head injuries. His death was just one of several similar occurrences. In 2016, the body of Anthony Todd was discovered at a landfill in Tallahassee, Florida. A bulldozer driver saw his leg sticking out of a trash pile. It was theorized that Todd had climbed inside a dumpster to stay warm and had fallen into a deep sleep. The 43-year-old failed to wake up when the garbage truck emptied the contents of the dumpster and was crushed. In 2021, an Australian teenager named Spencer Benbolt had fallen asleep in a wheelie bin along with 2 other boys. When the garbage truck came around, the others woke up. One was able to jump out and alert the driver. However, by the time the moor of the machine came to a halt, Benbolt had already been fatally crushed. Number 6. ANUSHA Ranganathan. In June of 2018, ANUSHA Ranganathan fell asleep behind the wheel of her car and crashed into 70-year-old Patricia Robinson on a road in Oxfordshire, England. At the time, Ranganathan was tired after a sleepless night with her 18-month-old son, who'd had heart surgery. The 41-year-old businesswoman believed that she was fit to drive. However, as she drifted to sleep, she veered her Toyota into the opposite lane and crashed into the pensioner's Nissan Juke. After the frontal collision, both vehicles ended in a waterlogged roadside ditch. Ranganathan's baby, who was in the car at the time, fell from his car seat. Good Samaritans, who'd witnessed the brutal crash, found him crying in the footspace and extracted both him and his mother just before the Toyota burst into flames. They also pulled out Robinson, as there was a threat of the flames extending to her car as well. Ranganathan and her child survived. However, Robinson's injuries were described as being the most extensive suffered by a person without resulting in immediate death. She had ruptured nearly every organ in her body. The grandmother of 4 died in the hospital nearly 5 weeks later. Ranganathan pled guilty to death by dangerous driving and was given a sentence of 2.5 years in prison. Number 5. Erin Peach Pitts. In December of 2009, Florida teenager Erin Peach Pitts fell asleep while breastfeeding her 13-day-old daughter. When she woke up, Peach Pitts found that the baby was unresponsive. She was rushed to the hospital and subsequently pronounced dead. Doctors determined that she'd succumbed to asphyxia due to probable overlay and co-sleeping, and ruled the death accidental. In the years that followed, Pitts was arrested for a slew of offenses, which included, among others, domestic battery, larceny, and burglary. In 2016, while pregnant with her second child, 25-year-old Pitts was arrested for methamphetamine possession and spent a month in jail. Considering the past incident as well as her criminal record, she was ordered to attend classes on the dangers of co-sleeping. Before taking her son home from the hospital that September, Pitts was again given detailed instructions on how to safely put a baby to bed. A few weeks later, when her 18-day-old son woke up crying, Pitts took him from his bassinet. She placed him on the bed with his head in the crook of her arm. A few hours later, in an incident that mirrored the first, Pitts woke up to find that her newborn was unresponsive. The child passed away in a Winter Haven hospital. Pitts was charged with manslaughter after the authorities determined the child had died due to her own negligence. Number 4. Cullen Green. On a Sunday night in 2016, Cullen Green attended a wedding at a venue in Harris County, Texas. 27-year-old Green, believed to have been inebriated at the time, fell asleep in an outdoor bathroom. He awoke up in the early hours of Monday, after the guests had all left and the owner had locked up. Confused, Green forced his way through the locked door and broke into the venue's main hall. It was then that he was confronted by an on-site property manager. A physical altercation ensued that concluded with the manager shooting Green several times. He was airlifted to a nearby hospital in serious condition, but doctors expected he would recover. It's unclear what legal actions, if any, were taken against Green or the manager. Number 3. Jai Ram. In March of 2016, an Indian man was buried alive in concrete after falling asleep at a construction site. 24-year-old Jai Ram was part of a team working at the Pench River Dam project in Madhya Pradesh. Ram was taking a nap inside a duct when the other workers started filling it with concrete without checking if anyone was inside. They then used a steamroller to level the gravel in the early hours of the morning. It was only after Ram's family had reported him missing that a second team re-examined the site and noticed a hand sticking out of the gravel. After digging through the concrete, they were able to retrieve Ram's body. The others in his crew fled after the authorities claimed they'd be arrested for culpable homicide, not amounting to murder. Today's topic was requested by Rosie Hernandez, Hugh Hefner, Rafael Heredia, and Diet Coke. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Matthew Phelps. On September the 1st of 2017, Matthew Phelps brutally murdered his wife Lauren at their home in Raleigh, North Carolina. Matthew called 911 and claimed he'd awoken to find himself covered in blood, his wife dead, and a knife on the bed. He told the dispatcher, "I think I did it," but added that he'd taken excessive cough medicine because he had trouble sleeping. Lauren was found in the fetal position on the floor of the couple's bedroom. An autopsy would subsequently determine that she'd been stabbed 123 times. In his defense, Matthew claimed that he wasn't aware of his actions at the time and that he'd killed his wife in a medicine-induced dream. While it is recognized as a phenomenon, there aren't many cases of homicidal sleepwalking, and their veracity is mostly disputed. During the deepest stages of slow-wave sleep, the brain will sometimes get stuck between being asleep and awake, allowing people to unconsciously perform various actions. The connection between sleepwalking and murder isn't well understood, but it's believed to involve other factors like stress, anxiety, depression, drugs, or alcohol. Matthew and Lauren, both 29, had only been married for about a year, and as the victim's family reported, seemed perfectly happy together. During the trial, aspersions would be cast on Matthew's defense when it emerged that he'd privately wondered to a friend what it would be like to kill somebody. He also harbored an obsession for American Psycho and its serial killer protagonist, Patrick Bateman. Additionally, there'd been problems in the marriage, stemming from Matthew's excessive spending, with Lauren restricting his finances and threatening to end their relationship. To avoid the death penalty, Matthew ultimately pled guilty to first-degree murder and was sentenced to life without parole. Number 1. Death of 16 Indian workers. In 2020, 16 migrant workers were run over by a train in the Indian state of Maharashtra after falling asleep on the tracks. Many of the country's industrial branches were suddenly stopped on March the 24th as a consequence of the pandemic lockdown. Fearing they would starve to death, numerous migrant workers chose to return to their home villages. Since the few bus and train lines that were operational followed irregular schedules, many were forced to walk home. 20 workers employed by an ironworks factory in Jalna had been walking towards a station in Aurangabad, hoping to eventually catch a train home. After a grueling trek of over 26 miles, the exhausted workers rested on the tracks. They'd been walking along the train lines for some time and hadn't seen any go by. They therefore assumed the lines weren't operational because of the restrictions. Unfortunately, as they slept, a freight train started traveling their way. The conductor reportedly tried to alert them, as did a few of the workers who'd been sleeping beside the tracks. With no time to react, 16 of the workers were mowed down. A mangled mass of body parts and personal belongings littered the tracks in the train's wake. In the aftermath, Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeted that he was extremely anguished by the loss of lives. Thanks for watching. Once a month, randomly, would you rather sleepwalk or wet the bed? Let us know in the comments section below.